Welcome to the Station Wagon. I'm the older brother, Mark.
And I'm little sister Julie. This is the podcast where my brother and I give up something we take for granted and tell you how it goes.
Buckle up and enjoy the ride. Hey everyone, in this episode of the Station Wagon, we're going to be giving up changing our clothes.
Yuck.
Well, Julie, to be clear, we are still going to be washing our clothes.
Phew.
Right? And probably, everybody else is going to be grateful for that as well.
I would think so. Thanks to Katrin Wolf for the idea. If you have ideas of things we could give up, please send your suggestions to wagonpodcast@gmail.com. Shout out to us on Twitter. We're at WagonPod, or connect with us on Facebook.
So, Julie, let's talk about changing clothes. So, this may seem really simple.
It is really simple.
But can we spend a moment and define what we're talking about?
Yes, let's define what we mean by changing clothes.
Good. First, I've got two definitions, so consider this a bonus for you, okay?
Okay.
The first definition is for the word change.
Okay.
All right, which according to a Google search means make or become different.
Okay.
Okay. And then the second definition is clothes.
Yes.
Items worn to cover the body. And so just in case I'm not totally clear, Julie, the synonyms of clothes are garments, attire, garb, dress, wear, costume, informal gear, togs, duds, threads, get-up, formal apparel, archaic raiment, and habiliments.
Are you sure it's not habillement?
It could be. Very good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So do you have any problem with those definitions?
That sounds excellent. I have no objection to this definition.
Okay.
Please, pray move on.
I shall. Let's go into the quiz. Are you feeling smart? Do you have your thinking cap on?
I have been taking Smarty juice all night.
Great. Smarty
I.e.
juice?
red wine.
Oh,
yes,
very
I'm
good.
set to go.
Oh, good. Now, you want to take off your sorting hat first and put your thinking cap on. Just
Gryffindor.
Oh, really? You think so?
Actually, I would totally be a Hufflepuff.
Right. I think you would be. Less action-oriented, more egghead.
Yeah. Well, I would be like a wannabe Ravenclaw.
Oh, wait.
but,
Which one? Is Ravenclaw the smart group?
Yeah. Hufflepuffs are kind of like the chickeny ones who are just really nurturing.
You would be a Ravenclaw.
Aw, thanks.
Because you're not nurturing. All right, Julie. I've got three questions for you. Number one, what article of clothing do you wear when participating in the sporting event called the caber toss?
Leggings.
No.
A leotard.
No.
Jeggings.
No.
Trench coat.
No. Two more guesses.
Ballet shoes.
No. One more guess.
Knee pads.
No. A kilt.
Oh, I was not going to get there.
Do you know what a caber is?
No, what is it?
It's a roughly trimmed tree trunk used in the Scottish Highland sport of tossing the caber. It involves holding the caber upright and running forward to toss it so that it lands on the opposite end. Number two, which country's women have a penchant for bowler hats? Zambia, Botswana, or Bolivia?
Bolivia.
Very good. What do you know about them?
Bolivia.
What do you know? You have been hitting the Smarty juice. What else do you know about that?
They speak Spanish.
Okay, so it's the Aymara women,
Okay.
and they wear hats that look a lot like bowler hats as part of their traditional outfits.
Wow, I had no idea.
Yeah, there was a consignment of hats that was sold cheaply to the local women in the 1920s when they were found to be too small for European workers they were intended for, and so they started a fashion trend that still endures.
Oh, wow, interesting.
Yeah, pretty weird.
I would not have guessed that.
I would not have guessed that either. We'll have to see if any Bolivian people who listen to the show, if you want to write in and correct us, that'd be great. What are meggings and a skort? They are variations on existing clothes. B, they are portmanteaus. C, they're incredible awesomeness due to comfort and versatility. Or D, all of the above.
Clearly you're begging for all of the above,
What?
but I don't know about awesomeness here because...
Because why? Spit it out.
I just think skirts are a little passé.
Well, just because they're passé doesn't mean they are still designed for comfort and versatility.
Yeah, but not necessarily awesomeness.
That's in the butt of the wearer.
Fair enough. Okay.
So what are meggings? Do you know?
Well, I'm guessing man leggings?
Exactly. Yes. Yes. This is something that in my research I found.
We really do differ in the way we do research, huh?
So, yes, I think you got that one right.
Yes.
Good job. So, shall we move into history? Do you want to know about changing your
wait
clothes?
a second.
What?
Before you move on,
What?
let us just recognize that this is the best score I have ever gotten on your quiz.
You did. Actually, that's really great. If you got 2 out of 3 or better, listeners, please let us know so we can shame Julie.
What's my prize?
Your prize for what? For not getting a perfect score? Nothing.
I have something to shoot for, I guess.
Yeah, you have an opportunity for growth. So here's some history.
Tell me about it.
So in the Middle Ages, middle-aged peasants, they probably had one outfit and maybe another one because A, they had no money to go and buy something. They had to make their own clothes, B, and C, they probably didn't have time to make a lot of different clothes or the resources to do it.
Right. And if you knew how to make like one kind of dress, that was going to be the kind you made. It's not like, you changed the style of flounce here and there.
Or even had flounce. In Middle Ages, most people wore something that was a tunic, a piece of cloth with a head hole that just went over their bodies with some holes cut for sleeves or just sewn up the sides to let their arms stick out. And women wore things that were longer than what the men wore, which were more like tunic dresses.
I hope Tim Gunn is not listening to your description of how to make a tunic.
1879, Albert Einstein was born. And so what do you know about Albert Einstein and his clothes?
I've never even thought about it.
So it's interesting because a lot of people, I actually found a lot of sources online that said he wore the same clothes all the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but it's not true. So I'm putting him in here to just debunk that.
It's become like apocryphal. Like, oh yeah, he wore the same outfit every day.
Yes, what does apocryphal mean?
Mythology, like a story that gets told to the point where people just assume it's true and it becomes a new truth.
Yeah, I think so. And a lot of his pictures, more of the famous ones, are in black and white. And so I would guess that his clothes kind of look very similar that way.
I could probably make up words completely and you would believe me, huh?
1946, Dolly Parton was born. And as opposed to somebody like a person from the Middle Ages who only had one pair of clothes, somebody with lots of money like Dolly Parton has, can have the luxury to never wear the same thing twice, which she's gone on record as doing.
No way. Are you serious?
Seriously, yes. 1952, Paul Rubens is born, and he's the actor that plays who, Julie?
Pee-wee Herman.
That's right.
As well as the farting guy in Mystery Men, one of his better roles.
Really? I don't know that one. I'll have to check that out.
It's really good.
So Pee-wee Herman wears the same thing all the time, a gray suit, red bow tie. Very iconic. 1955, Steve Jobs is born, and unlike most corporate executives who wear suits and ties, Jobs was committed to his chosen uniform of a black mock turtleneck, blue jeans, and New Balance sneakers.
Okay, so what do you think a mock turtleneck is?
I think it's one that doesn't have an extra flap that folds back down, but just kind of sticks up like an inch.
Oh, you knew it!
Is that what it is? Well,
yeah,
I'm looking right at him so I can see what it looks like.
Okay. I just thought you might be like reading that off a website.
No, I had a job aid right in front of me. 1960, Bono is born. You know how he wears sunglasses all the time?
Yeah.
That's why I'm including him here. But I also was interested to find out why he wears them. Do you want to take a guess?
I'm guessing he has sensitive eyes.
He does. He has glaucoma.
Oh, I had no idea.
Right. He's getting it treated, he says, and he's got good treatment for it, he says.
Is that what he told you?
That's what he says. 1973, Dale Irby started posting pictures of himself or started taking pictures for his school's yearbook wearing the exact same shirt and sweater since 1973.
Oh, is this that teacher who, and it's like a brown V-neck sweater or something?
Yep.
Is that what he wears just for the pictures,
Just
or does
for
he
the
wear that like
pictures.
every single day?
No, just for the pictures.
It's pretty funny.
It's pretty great.
I like it.
1984, Mark Zuckerberg is born, and he wears a gray t-shirt and jeans all the time.
He's a baby. 1984. Oh my gosh.
2012, a woman named Matilda Call wore the same outfit to work every day for 3 years to reduce her stress. And she was the creative director, or could still be the creative director of Saatchi & Saatchi.
What's that?
It's a big advertising firm out of New York. So it's a pretty big deal for somebody.
Is it?
What's that?
Is it?
Well, I think so. She was actually featured in several articles around the place where articles are.
The internet?
The internets, like Bazaar, Harper's Bazaar, and other places like that. But it's a big deal for somebody from a creative organization to go the opposite way in terms of their creative outfits, I would guess.
And once there was a woman who actually did not change her clothes. We wrote articles about it because it was so strange.
Exactly,
you know what I mean?
Right. 2014, Karl Stefanovic. Do you know that name?
No.
He is a presenter on the Today Show, and he wore a navy blue, quote, cheap Burberry knockoff suit every day for a year on the air because he was angered by the sexism he saw being heaped upon his female colleagues and attempts to downplay it.
Oh, really?
Right. So his female coworkers, who were also presenters on the Today Show, would always get lots of comments, questions, hate mail, I don't know what, about their clothing. People always took notice of what they were wearing, but no one ever commented on what he was wearing. And so he really wanted to see how far he could push it. And so he wore a very, very similar suit. I think he just changed his tie every day.
And did anyone notice?
Nobody noticed.
He was wearing the same
right.
thing?
So he got no audience members or fashion commentators commented about it at all. So that's history. Julie, do you have something science-y to talk about?
Well, listeners, Mark heard me kvetch quite a bit today because I kept emailing him saying, I can't find research on this. Surprisingly, there's not a lot of peer-reviewed research out there on the frequency with which people change their clothes and related, behavioral health outcomes.
Did you really try hard?
Oh my gosh, I tried hard, I promise.
Okay.
Okay.
Did you use Google?
Dude. No.
There you go.
I used.
Did you use the internet?
I did PubMed.
Oh,
EBSCOhost,
right. You're still on AOL.
Ovid. I did Google Scholar.
Did you use
I did Google.
Did you use Dad's AOL account?
I did Ask Jeeves. I asked Jeeves all about it and nothing. I said, Jeeves, tell me what I'm supposed to say on our stupid podcast tonight. Jeeves was totally silent. But I did find some research that's kind of tangentially related. So that's what I'm going to briefly review today. So with regard to wearing the same clothes every day, that kind of made me think of uniforms and school uniforms. And there is quite a bit of research out there saying that school uniforms result in better behavior and better academic outcomes, especially for female students. If it has that same kind of outcome in schools, perhaps it would have the same kind of outcome for us as professionals. Maybe if everyone in our workplace was wearing the same kind of clothing, we would all be better behaved, more productive.
Is there research about people who are mandated to wear uniforms?
I could not find it. The only discipline I could find that really had some similar research is nursing and the medical field, where, 50 years ago, nurses wore those kind of one flew over the cuckoo's nest nursing dresses. And nowadays, nurses wear scrubs or just daytime clothes. So that's been the one discipline that there is some research on. And there's some evidence saying that patients feel more comfortable with nurses who are in scrubs or in some sort of uniform because it implies to them a certain kind of professionalism and clearly identifies them as workers.
Do patients need to see doctors in some form of uniform to feel more comfortable with them?
And patients also want to see doctors either dressed nicely or in the white lab coat type of jacket.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's kind of interesting. Also, there's some research out there saying that those are actually better at preventing germ spreading too. Because
what, the white lab coats are?
Yeah, and scrubs, because it's yet another kind of preventive layer.
Uh-huh.
And because they're washed at the hospital, whereas someone's scrubs that they take home with them and wash at home or just daytime clothes, you can't be assured that the employees are actually washing them well enough to prevent the spread of germs.
Very good.
Also, there's a lot of nightmare scenarios out there about the fast fashion industry. Do you know what the term fast fashion is?
It's new to me. I'm sure everybody listening's already heard of it. I'm kind of slow on the uptake.
Okay, so fast fashion is the idea that when we see clothes on the runway, the cycle from having clothes show up on the runway and then having ready-to-wear versions of those made and put out for others to buy and purchase cheaply, not just couture designers, is happening faster and faster. So, for example, I might see Heidi Klum wearing some amazing dress, and then 3 months later, I might see a $50 version of that at H&M. Heidi Klum is a model, Mark, and H&M is a discount store where the clothes are not very well made, but they are definitely very modern, and they change quite rapidly.
Is Heidi Klum still like modeling clothes?
I don't know.
You should have said like Amy Schumer. I think she's more relevant. I'm happy to correct you. Keep going.
This kind of fast fashion industry is not going to be very good for the workers. Also, the clothes end up going into landfills.
Because why?
Well, these clothes are not made in America. They're not made in Western countries with strong regulations. They're made very quickly, mass-produced. And the clothes, there's some interesting research on what do teens do with their clothes when they're done with them. Some do get given away. A lot just get thrown out. A lot of these clothes are not well made, so even if they are given to something like Goodwill, they're not really in a state that can be purchased. And not all the clothes that are given to Goodwill that are ready to be worn are purchased. A lot of them end up in landfills too. So I've got some of those references in the show notes, and there's a couple really interesting documentaries out there.
Okay.
This research would indicate it really makes most sense to buy a few really well-made things that are, sustainably sourced and ethically manufactured, classic pieces that you can wear for years and years and years.
Is that actually possible to do?
It is.
I mean, for some, like I've got kids who need new pairs of shoes. I'm selling all my plasma to do this.
My child looks at a pair of shoes and grows out of them.
No, I meant all my money is going to my children. So for myself, I mean, if that's the case, do I have to be Dolly Parton to be able to afford what you're talking about?
I probably buy less clothes than most American women. And instead of all the clothes in 1 year that I bought at Old Navy and Macy's and Goodwill, if I spent all of that on just one sweater and one pair of pants, and then every year increased my wardrobe by just that small amount, and if I stayed the same size, then it probably would even out. In other words, instead of buying lots of this fast fashion clothing, if I invested in just a couple pieces of really high quality clothing, I guess it could work. But it's unrealistic because that's just not the way our market works, and that's not the way advertisement works. It's not the way our supply and demand structure is built. If everybody fell into that model of thinking, oh yeah, it's okay for me to wear the same 3 outfits every week to work, then sure, possibly, but I don't think that is the world we live in the Western world, and certainly North America. Clothes are a really important aspect of self-expression as well. A lot of us don't go home and paint a canvas, but our clothing, our jewelry, makeup, and hair, these are different ways that we can express ourselves. Also, there are potential biological reasons why especially women and gay men might dress differently when we try to attract male partners. Now, this is some of that tangential research I was referring to earlier. I don't think this is really strongly proven
and this
or
sounds
evidence.
Like it's getting far afield from not changing your clothes.
Right. Oh, totally. Yeah, this is saying that you should change your clothes. But
okay. Go ahead.
I'm trying to present both sides of it.
All right. Yeah, go ahead.
So theoretically, those trying to attract male partners would want to change our outward appearance in order to kind of biologically trick our male partners into thinking that we are a different human, because males are evolutionarily designed to try to inseminate as many potential partners as possible.
Okay, wait a second.
Oh, what? Was that not clear?
No, that was totally clear. I just want to make sure I got it. So
yeah.
Are you saying that women have evolved to, or females of any species have evolved to change the way they look so that their particular mate might think that they are a different person and thus want to inseminate them?
I'm not saying of any species. I'm only referring to the human species.
Okay.
But yes.
That is so interesting. So next,
like wearing different perfumes. It's like, okay, today I'm going to trick my partner. I mean, obviously.
So
Jason
does research
still
support
knows
this, or is this all?
Yes. No, I mean, it's all theoretical. They haven't done like a randomized control trial of like 3,000 married couples.
So this is really interesting. So this might actually cause you and your husband some strife, right? Because he's used to somebody completely different every day.
Right. Well, I mean, we've met, right? I mean, I don't just like, oh, you're wearing those dirty clothes today. But in theory, yeah, I don't know. I don't want to get too personal here because it's gross, but
All right, maybe we should just stop. Should we move on? Do you have more sciencey stuff for us? Please don't get into anything that's gross. If you want to hear something that's gross, listeners, please private message Julie on Facebook.
And I'll go on and on about it.
Yes.
One last thing. I read this study by Thomas Wilson. He and his research team looked at the way that people decide on preferences. And the bottom line of the research is that if you think too much about something and try to reason it out rather than going with your gut, you're not going to be pleased in the long run with your decisions.
Wait, hold on. If you reason something out, you're not going to be happy with the decision versus or as happy as you would be if you went with your gut.
Right. In terms of a preference for something.
Oh, okay. So you're not saying like, oh yeah, I went with my gut on deciding whether or not to buy a car.
Right.
You're saying I went with my gut on whether or not to get the purple car versus the green car.
Exactly.
Okay.
So you had students come in and they got to pick from between a couple posters, like Van Gogh and a Monet, like typical freshman dorm room kind of posters.
Okay.
And some students were able to come in and just pick whichever one they wanted. But others had to come in and list all the reasons why they wanted the poster before they picked. And like describe it and go through and talk with others and like reason it out. And then 3 months later, he followed up with them to see who still had their posters up on their wall. And the ones who just picked their first impulse still had the posters up, or were more likely to. So the ones who had to like think about it and like analyze it, make like a pro-con list for each of them, those were the ones who like they ended up making a decision based on other analysis, but ultimately they ended up not liking it quite as much. So I will leave us with this note that in terms of our listeners trying to decide should they replicate this really stupid thing we're doing or potentially keep wearing different clothes and how to decide what to wear, I would say go with your gut and try to go with a first impulse of what looks good to you rather than reasoning it out. Some of the research I looked at did say that especially women spend a lot of time every morning or in the evening deciding what to wear.
Right.
And that is a ton of time of our lives wasted.
Bogus. It's just totally bogus.
Is it?
It is that our culture requires this implicitly of women to do.
I wonder what it's going to be like for us wearing the same thing for 2 weeks.
Well, I'm really excited about this because it's going to save me all that like 30 seconds in the morning when I pick out which t-shirt I'm going to wear to the office.
Is that seriously how long you spend?
Yeah. That's all that is required of me implicitly or tacitly from society. What we're going to do is we're going to wear the same clothes.
As each other?
Oh, gosh. Why are you so obtuse?
Wow, you used a big word.
Oh, my gosh. We're gonna wear, each of us is going to pick out an outfit and then wear that outfit for 2 weeks with these caveats. Okay. You can wear something different if you need to do a project or task that will get you dirty or torn up. Number 2 is that when you go to sleep, you can wear something else.
Okay.
Number 3, you can change your dainty under things.
Ew.
Number 4, you can wash your clothes.
Can you just never say that word again ever?
Dainty?
And under things.
So it was really 2 words that you want me to stop saying.
That
just to be
phrase.
clear.
Yes.
What? That phrase?
Yeah.
Dainty undergarments?
Ew. That was worse. Okay, so but we can wash our clothes. We don't have to be dirty.
Yep.
Do you have deodorant?
I do.
Good.
Yes.
You could have been using that this whole time, Okay, we are going to leave you, dear listeners, for about a couple minutes. Actually, 2 weeks. You're going to listen to the Pleasure Kills, and when we come back, we'll talk all about it.
I think uniforms create a team atmosphere in the sense that we're all wearing the same thing. We all work for the same team.
But I love wearing the uniform. One, of course, I joined the Army, so obviously I'm proud to serve and all that stuff. But it's easy. You don't have to think about what am I going to wear. It's always, I just grab this off the hanger and done. Put on my boots, go. But also just, I don't know. I'm saying this from a male perspective. There's that machismo aspect, of I'm in the Army, and so you're broadcasting that because you're wearing the uniform. So there's a lot of cool things about being in uniform.
I told Mark that he should wear sweats and a long sleeve shirt for 2 whole weeks, because then it'll act like pajamas, but it won't be pajamas.
When I get up in the morning, it's an unearthly hour because I got such a long drive, and I got so sick of trying to figure out which shirt to put on that I thought, oh, screw this. And I went to Fred Meyer and I bought 6 of the same shirt and 2 of the same pair of trousers and probably 100 pairs of socks. That's the way it's going to be from here on in the winter. So that's my winter plumage. In the summer, it's khakis. And that's that. And I don't have to think anymore in the morning.
Thank you, David, Carl, Elsa, and Nigel.
Hey, everybody. This episode is sponsored by Rumble Marketing. Julie, have you heard of Rumble Marketing?
Tell me all about it.
Rumble Marketing will help you explain even complicated products and services simply, crisply, and with compelling emotional resonance.
We really should have had the less slobbery sibling say that.
Do you like my emotional resonance?
Sure.
Call Rumble to nail your brand voice, communicate key product messaging, or schedule an award-winning workshop to train your sales and executive teams to create more effective, not less effective, business communications.
Contact Rumble Marketing at rumblemarketing.com or on LinkedIn.
So, Julie, welcome back.
What are you wearing? And I know that sounds super creepy.
Especially because you're my yucky, gross sister.
Yeah, as it was coming out of my mouth.
Do you want to retract that?
No.
Okay, what are you wearing?
Same thing I've been wearing for the last 2 weeks.
Oh, really? Because I changed out of my clothes and I am now wearing pajamas.
Wrong. What was the outfit you picked, by the way?
Yeah, so the outfit I picked was my usual Pacific Northwest footwear.
Birkenstocks and socks?
No, it's like all-weather Tevas or Keen kind of shoes.
Oh, okay.
Brown, of course, and a very dashing, middle-aged man, buttoned-down plaid shirt.
Hot dad look?
Hot dad look. No khakis, but yeah, hot dad look. Totally. I can go from work to dinner to wrestling with the kids without having to change my clothes.
Wow, I'm sure that's attractive to somebody out there.
Julie, what were you wearing?
Well, I kind of made a tactical error with what I chose.
Okay.
So I was in a big rush. I wanted to have something, again, that could go from like work to play. So I went to Old Navy and just looked for something that was on sale and bought 3 identical long sleeve t-shirts without trying them on.
Yeah, but wait a second. So you work in a very formal environment, though. So you didn't think at all that you would need to look formal at work? Usually
I would, but we did this. I don't want to call it an experiment since we didn't have a control group, but we did this thing.
Or non-scientific experiment.
We did this experience during the weeks that were Christmas.
Wait, are you
New
worried
Year's.
that like some kind of experimental, like human subject board people are going to swoop down on you at the office for calling this an experiment?
It's not your career on the line, dude.
Right, sure.
T-shirts I bought, it fit. It just, they look really schlumpy, and I bought teal blue because that's a color I like. And it didn't occur to me that when I was wearing those with blue jeans, I would just be entirely dressed in blue.
Oh, like Veruca Salt? No, I guess she was purple.
And
and actually
Violet Beauregard.
Oh, yes, Violet Beauregard. You're right. Absolutely right.
I'll play you a little clip of when I interviewed my husband.
Okay, cool. Let's hear the clip.
You're going to wear that for 2 weeks?
Why? What's wrong with it?
It's just plain. You're so beautiful, and yet you're looking so plain. That's it. No more.
So, yeah, I probably should have picked something a little bit more exciting.
Did you not listen to Jason and then like go out and buy something new? I mean, you had time, right?
I didn't even put on the clothes until it was time to start recording.
So did you have to go to work dressed in your schlumpy clothes?
Yeah, I did everything in them.
Yeah, so what did people think? Did you get any comments?
I got 0 comments. This was the really bad part. So, yeah, no one said anything at all. No one.
So why is that bad, though?
Because what that means is that they all think I either, the first couple of days was having like the walk of shame where I slept in my office, but then after that I was having some sort of psychotic break.
You know that the walk of shame doesn't mean that you're sleeping in your office, right?
The nerd walk of shame.
There you go. Okay, perfect.
Or that, I'm going through something really severely psychological and no one said anything. And I know that people notice stuff because today, on the very last day, I was like, please, somebody say something. Because I just wanted people to spread it around. Oh, it's for her stupid podcast.
Right, sure.
I wore boots today instead of sneakers, which I wore the rest of the time. And people commented on that. People were like, oh, I see you're wearing boots today. So
really?
I know people are noticing this stuff.
Oh, no.
I was at the YMCA working out, and we were talking about just how awesome it is to live in hippie Olympia, Washington.
Right.
And we were talking about how, you don't need to wear fancy workout clothes
right.
far away. And I said, yeah, for my podcast, I'm wearing the same clothes for 2 weeks in a row. No one said anything. They don't even notice. And the other women I was talking to, complete strangers, they're like, no, they're talking about you behind your back.
Oh, my God. At my work, they ask me, what are you giving up today? What are you giving up this week? Kind of thing. Doesn't anybody ask you that?
Sometimes they do. And I even tried to bring up the podcast in conversation.
So no one came up to you saying, what are you giving up this week? Or
Nope.
But have they done that in the past?
Yeah, a little bit. I really try not to force too much conversation about it, especially since lately I've been filling in this leadership position higher than my normal position.
Right.
And so I don't want to be the tool who's like, now that I'm in charge, everyone, please help me increase our downloads and leave iTunes reviews.
Although
by the way,
that
please,
would actually
please leave us iTunes reviews.
Mm-hmm. And if there's anybody listening from my office, please leave us iTunes reviews also.
So yeah, I'll post a couple of pictures after this episode launches. I'll put them on Facebook of me on the first day and me on the last day. And I tried to just capture my emotions.
That's really good. So my experience was the same and completely different. It was the same because nobody noticed that I was wearing the same thing over and over again.
Oh, seriously, they didn't?
No, it was really what I expected. However, my friends are more supportive than yours. And people would come up to me asking me what I was doing, and I would tell them about this. The very first question was always, are you washing your clothes?
Yeah, totally.
So, yeah, I had to get through that. And yes, we washed our clothes. In fact, I had 2 copies of the outfit that I would wear. But when I told them what I was doing, and then has anybody noticed was the next question, and I would say no. They're like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. And because what I was wearing was, I chose a shirt that was really bright, I thought.
Yeah,
but also relative to the surroundings, but also kind of nondescript in that, like you said, it was like, how did you put it? Superhero action dad?
I don't recall saying that.
And so that was really nice of you to say it that way.
Doesn't sound like me.
Nobody noticed.
Oh, man.
So towards the end of it, I was just kind of bummed out that no one noticed what I was wearing, and I was just really bored with what I was wearing.
See, okay, so you were just kind of bored and a little disappointed that you didn't get fun attention, whereas I was felt humiliated and degraded. Okay, degraded's too strong.
All right, would that imply that somebody was doing something to you?
By myself, I felt self-degraded. Okay, self-degraded? That's not a word.
No, you just coined it. Yes. Listeners, we've coined a new word. Feel free to use it. I can't say it. Self-degraded.
Nope. So anyway, the second day when I had to go in the clothes, I was just like, oh, I don't want to show up for work. What are all these people going to think?
So wait, so this is all your own projection?
Oh, totally. Completely all on me. But I did feel like it was the opposite of, I guess it was maybe episode 7, Giving Up Dressing Down, where I kind of started learning how to do makeup and stuff.
Right.
And then a few weeks ago...
And you felt really good about yourself and large and in charge, right?
Yeah, and I've been trying to keep up, not all of that, because, I'm still lazy, but some of it. And then the amazing local photographer Jen June did some nice photos for us, and I got my makeup kind of professionally done, if you consider the makeup counter in the mall professionals.
Oh, well, when I get my makeup done, that's where I go.
Well, and they are being paid money, so that's professional.
Totally.
Anyway, I learned things like how to put on eyeliner and stuff, which apparently there's actual skills required. And seriously, midway through this exercise, I was like, what's the point? And I really felt like, I'm just wearing all blue and I hate this. So it affected me more than I thought it would, because I still like to think of myself as like the tomboy who cares what I'm wearing. I can dress up when I feel like it.
Right.
But I did definitely start feeling kind of yucky.
Well, let me ask you a question. So if you had chosen an outfit that was actually nice and appropriate for work, like one of the examples from our history section, would that have altered your whole experience?
I think it would have. So this isn't really a fair thing. I mean,
so you need to do this again.
Well,
write in. Let us know, listeners, if you want Julie to do this again. 1-900-888-66. Do it again.
We actually do have a phone number, and that's totally not it. But you can find us on Facebook. And please let us know.
If you just want Julie to do it again, because mine was totally successful and I don't need to redo it.
But, one thing that's different is people who wear uniforms every day, even if they're like really icky uniforms or awesome uniforms, there's the group membership aspect of it that I think is different from what we did. And I think if there were, maybe other 12, if all the psychologists at my workplace were all wearing the same stupid outfit I was, that would have been easier for me, because at least everyone's wearing the same thing. It's all understood.
And you didn't feel the strong enough camaraderie with me, just knowing that I was doing the same experience? That's really nice. Thanks.
We're united by blood. I don't have to actually like you.
Nice. So I don't know if I'd call it cheat. I mean, we talked before I did it, but I had to. There were a couple times when I did not wear this outfit. Once when there was a bunch of snow, we went sledding, so I didn't wear this. Good. And another time when I had to tear apart the inside of my van to fix a door, I put on my grubbies to do that.
Okay, I did cheat once, too.
What did you do? Cheating's not allowed.
We had some really good friends over, and I convinced them all to do a workout thing with me on the Wii U, so I could put on my workout clothes.
So would you recommend this to a friend?
What's the point? I mean,
there is a point. No, I mean, there is a point.
There's not societal good in this one.
There's no societal good, but there's good for yourself if you choose an outfit that actually meets your needs, say, in the office, and is actually a nice outfit like the people in our history section have chosen, something that actually works. And don't be a tool like you were. And choose something that doesn't work in the office, then I think you could be very successful.
I did like waking up and not having to think about what am I going to wear today. It definitely saved me time.
Your experience waking up was, yay, it's the morning. What a sunshiny day. Oh, I have to wear that crap again?
Humiliation.
Oh, humiliation. In summary, by Mark Schechter, you would not recommend this to a friend, and I would with a few caveats. So, Julie, with all that said, we should look towards the future, don't you think?
Okay.
So here's an idea from Sunitha Adams that we give up wearing pants for 2 weeks. How do you feel about that?
Wait, the British pants or American pants?
Well, I would imagine pants, trousers, short pants, anything that is basically, got something around the waist and two separate legs.
Okay, so, in Britain, if you say pants, it means underwear.
Oh, it does?
Yep.
I've never been there.
In underwear?
In Britain. I don't know that it exists, actually, so...
Well, you never seen it, so...
That's right.
All those Young Ones episodes came out of Australia.
That's right.
I could absolutely go without trousers. Let's just for the sake of discussion, let's assume that she's from the United States, and when she says pants, she means...
Trousers. Yeah, I'm just going to cut you off. I'm not doing this.
Why not?
Well, just purely for the expense of it. I would have to go out and buy a whole new wardrobe for 2 weeks.
You could get one really good Utilikilt.
Yeah, but they're expensive. They're like hundreds of dollars, and chances are I would never want to wear it again.
What about a knockoff Utilikilt? I would sew you a kilt.
Really?
Absolutely, I would.
Oh, man. I will think about it.
Consider this one.
I'm highly biased against it just based on the way my knees look.
Yeah. I mean, you're really doing us all a favor by wearing pants.
Exactly. Thank you.
Okay, so thanks, Sunitha. We will
Yes.
keep this one in mind. I
Right.
will send Mark a few fabric swatches and see if we can lure him in.
Absolutely. And if you want to give us some ideas for future episodes, please hit the Contact Us tab at wagonpod.com. That's our website where you can listen to us as you're doing now, view show notes, and subscribe to the podcast. So tell your mom all about it. Get her to tell her friends. We need to spread the word.
That's our target demographic.
That's right.
Your mama.
Your mom and her friends.
When she's not emailing you about potential banking.
Listen, I'm going to say your line. Okay, so connect with us on Facebook at the Station Wagon Podcast and Twitter at Wagon Pod. And there you can tell us all kinds of stuff too.
Yes, and please give us iTunes reviews like the awesome UberGirl84. Thanks to Rumble Marketing for keeping us rich in ramen noodles. Thank you to our spouses and our children for putting up with us and helping us make this happen. You
Thanks,
guys are
everybody.
awesome.
And thanks to the Pleasure Kills for the song Modern Problems.
See, I didn't even interrupt you like you always do when I say pleasure comes.
Well, that's my thing. Next time on the Station Wagon, we're going to be giving up our good hearing.
That's right. We've
gonna
got hearing totally nailed, and now we're going to give it up.
We're going to see what it's like to have unilateral hearing loss.
That makes it sound really boring.
And will you not say it like a 7-year-old girl?
I'll try. I mean, this is how I talk. I mean, I don't